It's set against a painting that was on my easel a few days ago, last week. It's the Gross Morn piece that you would have seen. Here I've got the tripod in the background. You can't see it, but this is a tripod with the ring light in the back here. And this is going to replace me on my easel. So let's get started. You can see my palette. I've got, oh, wait a minute. I have some images to review. I'll start with one that, they all blew me away, but this one has the least number of suggestions for the artist, and I think it's Diane's piece. Let me do a screen share here so you can see it. Fabulous painting.
Well, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, perfect.
And the one thing I would suggest, there are a couple of things I would suggest you take a look at. One of them, now I should ask, are you using black in this?
A little bit, not much.
Not much. Okay. So your darks are looking as if you're using just black only. If you take a look at the window at the bottom of the front of the building, I've
Yeah,
introduced some other color in there.
I think
Shadows.
I think that's a fluke. It's not on my painting.
No, no, I put that in. I
Oh,
put the
you
shade.
did. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I put that in. So here I'll show you what
More
happens
color.
when
Ah, okay.
I move it out. So just to add a little bit of color in your darks,
Okay.
and it's purple with a little bit of blue in it, and you can decide how you want that to look. But you can take a look at the shadow above
Yeah,
and the shadow below.
yeah.
So
More color.
just a touch.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be all black. Shadows are never all black anyway. There's a little bit of blue, a little bit of red, crimson, whatever. So that's the only suggestion. Up here, take a look at these lines that are here. I'm not sure if there are two lines for the roof of the building. There should be one, and these lines should be going to a vanishing point informed by this line here. It's
Right.
going down, and some of these lines going down as well too.
Okay.
No, not these lines. Sorry, this line here. This one and that
And that
one. Where
one.
they meet, somewhere in here.
Yeah.
That will also inform that line.
Okay.
The cyclist, very believable. Texture on the sidewalk. The two walkways up, one into the alleyway between the two buildings, and this one going up to the front door of the house, the home.
Yeah.
All very believable, fabulous. And in the foreground, perhaps a little bit more, you've introduced a little bit of color in the foreground on the street from the building. A touch more. That's what
Yeah.
you would say. You can glaze over that. Thank you. Fabulous work.
Oh, thank you. I thought it may be a little bit more detail on the tree too. A little, just a.
You read my mind. I was going to bring that up and I forgot. A
Oh,
bit of detail, a bit of orange in your green,
okay.
and a bit more of a color range from warm to cool, orange to yellow, as opposed to, you've got 2 to 3 ranges of color there in the same viridian
Hmm.
green and teal green. You could introduce some oranges and some yellows into that, some purples into your green as opposed to black for your shadows. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Tremendous work. Thank you.
Good job, Di.
Thanks, Lynn.
The other images I'm going to show you, there was one from Alina. Some very energized brushwork and also some very limited changes here as well too.
Oh,
If you take a look at the reference, which let me see if I could bring it up in here as well too. It's in my email. Sorry, I had it open earlier on. I can't find it now. It'll take me a few minutes. But the image, yes, in the shape of this cloud did come down. It came down a little bit lower in that sort of almost like a predictable curve, which you followed, However, what I'd recommend you do is just go down, even though you are copying an image that has that shape, you are designing your piece. So bring that shape down a little bit, break up that simple curve that was in the photograph. There is some of this purplish, pinkish color in here. You could come down a bit more with that and try to have a bit more information is what I should say, from here to there, rather than going up in one simple curve. Come down, play a little bit with that brush, go like this, and then go across. In here, I've added some color from the sky right in this area here, and I'll show you what I mean if I were to move these guys. If I move these guys, whoops. Oh, they're all saved down onto the image, but these lines that you see here, which are actually from the sky,
Yeah.
the yellow and the red lines, as they come down towards here, that then adds a bit more of the reflection from the sky, and it shows some depth going off to the horizon. Um, so I don't know, I can't seem to be able to move the lines, but yeah, so that's the only comment there. These are all fabulous shapes in here in your trees, uh, in here as well too. Thank you once again, fabulous work. And there was another image from you, this one. Let's get the screen sharing going. This piece, I've added some of the bright from the sky here. By the way, absolutely energized brushwork and design, and convincing you yourself as well as the viewer that sky exists behind the trees. Not always an easy thing to do, but you've shown it very convincingly that the sky, the background, exists behind the trees. Here are some of the minor changes that are recommended. Your initial line went across the top here in a straight line. Here I've shown how you could break that up once again to add a little bit more information from point A to point B by going across, coming down, coming across this way down into there. You still maintain the integrity of your trees with roots on a rock or in landscape, but now you have this intrigue of the land dropping off, but then there's another bit coming down here. I've introduced some of the dark teal green from back here into here with some purples. I've added some up here to break up the darkness. There was quite a bit of dark going up the left side of your painting, so I've broken that up, kept a lot of it, but broken up some of it by added some of the bright from the sky up here, across here, some of the green from up here, up there, some of that teal up there as well too. You could introduce some of the oranges from here in the branches, just selectively up here. And that's the only thing I would say. But overall, a fabulous painting. Thank you so much.
Amazing how little change makes such a big difference.
Well, this is the thing. You've done a lot of work, and I just touched a couple of places, 3 or 4 places. That's all I did. I think that's it for the images that came in today.
Andrew, can those changes that you've made, can you do a screen share or a save, so then when I go back to my studio tomorrow, I still remember?
I can send you that JPEG.
Okay, with
Yeah.
your yeah, that would be fun.
With the notes on it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Alina, the video is recorded, so in the recording.
Oh, right. Thank you. Yes, I remember.
Okay. Any questions so far, guys?
I sent my painting in.
Hey, Natalie, when did you send it?
I
Morning,
forwarded
about
to you, Andrew.
2 minutes ago. Before the class.
Oh, here we go. Oh, right, I did see this. Sorry. Yep.
So what I was wondering whether the car, I think, is quite camouflaged in all those colors. And I was just
Yep.
wondering whether I should bump up some of the darker colors, maybe to be like maybe a brighter teal, or something like that. 'Cause you know how some of these old cars sometimes are that tealish color.
Yep.
I looked at some just some images from some junkyards, and it was a color that they used, I guess, way back in the day on some of these types of cars. And I thought, well, maybe that will bring it out a little bit. I don't know.
If the objective is to separate the car a bit from the background, what you can do is if you take a look in this area here, I will show you just by showing you some color, and I'll use, maybe it's a combination of blues and let's see, I can draw, the line is a little bit thicker. Because you have green and rust color on the body of the car, if you go into this area and you add purple and blues, you will be able to separate the car from the background by adding a cooler color back here. It doesn't have to be completely flat, but you can see already how the car is coming forward.
Right.
Because you have less of the car color in the background itself. And the tree will also have depth. And especially in this area here, because this is the back of the car. See how the car is already coming forward?
Mm-hmm.
This part at the bottom, this red here as well.
Oh, it's not finished.
That's what I thought. And if you
Yeah.
added some darks back there, and you start just, I'm just going to put some blue in it. You'll see what a big difference it makes. I mean, I know you know that already, but even just by adding some blues over that hot red, you're seeing the car much more aggressively now.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Everything is going to catch your eye, and they want to share your attention span. So if the car is pink and there's some rust color on there, that red is in the same family of colors, it'll draw attention to itself.
I see. Okay.
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so let's take a look at the painting that we're going to be working on. I've got the image, and everyone has that image. I'm going to establish my water line across the top, then the diagonal down, shadows, draw in the shapes, but start in the background for today. I'll start with the sky, block in the sky, and then move forward. And the brush I'm going to use for that is, you know what, instead of drawing in my shapes, for today I'm going to block in my shapes. And I'm going to use a big brush, two big brushes.
Andrew, can you show us the picture again?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, very clear. Thank you.
And so I will block in the background with two big brushes. I'll wet a part of my palette, and I'll go straight in with my sky colors. In this case, I've got cerulean blue. This will go against my orange background, still very light, and some teal. Very light wash, and I'm going to block in that shape. I'm designing and drawing the tree line back there. I have to be careful I don't repaint my portrait back there, because the brush is going to extend beyond my canvas, and I'll end up with a scene of Killarney over my forehead. So I've got that coming up, and then the La Cloche mountain range back here. Bring that up. Now this shape, I need to come up a little bit here because there is going to be a very aggressive diagonal going this way. I don't want everything to be parallel and reflective of that shape. So my sky. Now I've got the La Cloche mountain range back there. I'm going to start with a bit of green at the very top. I've got yellow turquoise, green gold, and a bit of a warm orange color to break down that hotness of the yellow. Eventually there's going to be some bluish green back there, but for the time being, and I'm just going to go with that warm green.
哎呀，
Has-
哎呀，我们整了一下，那个什么，
Sorry, right, so coming down to the water line, which is here, going across, and realizing that my sky line and the mountain range back there can go up a bit more. But my brush strokes are going to be starting to hint at the way the trees are growing along that mountain back there. So some of the trees are going up like this, some are coming down from the top. Right, now I've got my slant for the rock in Killarney, that pink rock. Clean my brush out and pick up some zinc white.
Andrew, did you use zinc white with the orange for the background? Because it almost looks pearly.
I didn't use any white in the background, sorry.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, my prime
Like
colors are
there's
always,
reflections or something.
sorry, my prime colors are never mixed with white.
Okay.
Especially these colors in the background.
Mhm.
They're not meant to be a lighter color of the orange that I'm putting down. This is Pyrrole Orange. It may just be the brand that I used. It has a pinkish finish to it, which doesn't show up that way on my screen. So I don't know if it's showing that way on yours. I'm adding some light magenta with zinc white now to go across here, coming down and up slightly and down. Bit too light for the time being. I was going to put less white in it. Let's go with some Payne's Gray and dioxazine purple, as well as that light magenta. And having mixed that up, a little hint of some yellow. There are some shadows in the foreground. I'll add some ultramarine and some zinc to my dioxazine purple, and some cerulean blue gives it a little bit of a lighter finish and a brightness. So this shadow in the foreground on the rock is following the rock as it goes down over the surface, and I'm tracing the movement of the shadow over the rock. There are some shadows that are going to come towards the foreground, so I'll just hint at that like this, and continuing with these light shadows here going across. Okay, having established that, now I'm going to go back in with some of the light colors for the top of the rock, and then the water, and then I'll start putting in the trees. So we had some yellow, zinc, that's yellow ochre, zinc white, a little touch of that light magenta, and the paint is drying, so I'll add a bit of water to it and pull the brush into the shadow area so I get a connection between the highlight and the shadow. They're not independent of each other, they're connected to each other. One informs the other. So they have to absolutely touch and look like they are neighbors and they belong next to each other, and they get along with each other, by the way. They don't throw things across the fence at each other. Right, so there. Now I'm going to put some color into the water and then start adding my trees and my leaves. The water has, I'm going to start with some teal and then I'll glaze some ultramarine on top of the teal. In this case, a mixture of the dark and the medium teal. This is my base for the water, and I'll go across. May have to go up a little bit with this, but we'll start here for the time being. And I'm also defining the rock's edge as I'm painting the water. So I'll start right at the rock and then move my brush away so that I'm getting that movement where the brush painting the water is defining the edge of the rock. So you'll see my brush strokes are going horizontally as opposed to coming all the way down to define the rock and then going across. I'm painting across from edge to edge. Now I've got some of the texture from the background showing. You can see here where the canvas was light, the orange wasn't as bright. So these are all nice textures that are happening. Some of this are actually starting to show the highlight in the water of the reflection from the pink rock in the distance, pinkish gray rock. White, that is still wet. I'm going to wait for a bit. While I'm waiting, I'm going to put in some of my tree trunks. I've got a big tree trunk which is going to start here, and then a smaller one here. So let's put that in. I'll go to a smaller brush now. Is this too big? Let's see. That's going to be too big. I can switch the angle as I go up. I'll go with this brush. But let's wash these big ones out so they don't dry with pigment on them.
Andrew?
Hello.
Andrew?
Yes.
Are you considering bringing the water all the way to the right-hand side of the paper?
It's come all the way, yeah, it's come all the way to the edge of the paper. From side to side.
Are you going to leave that as water, or are you just drawing it out?
The water does continue from edge to edge. So the answer is yes, I will keep it in there.
Okay.
Can you see it? Can you see it from here to there?
Sorry, what is the blue that you use for the rock area?
This is a mixture of ultramarine blue in the foreground with the oxidine purple and light magenta.
No, the one the lighter part, like
Here?
no, the upper, a little bit up. No, the green between.
Here?
In between. Then you use water, right?
Sorry, here?
Yeah.
So this is the water. That's not the rock. That's the water.
Okay.
And that blue is cerulean blue. Sorry, it's teal,
Okay.
and it's a light glaze over the background color.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So my tree, there are 5 of them. I'm going to put in the bigger one here, going up, and I'm trying to decide if I'm going to go up more of an angle this way and then less of an angle here. I go like this and then like that or like this. So if I did this and then I did that or this, let's see, I'm going to go with the bigger of the 2 trees like this, even though it's not showing that way in my painting. Oh, sorry, my reference. I'm going to start with it here and make a decision as to whether I'm going to keep it later on. I'm going to introduce some burnt sienna to that purple that I had as my base color, and I'm going to start here and go all the way up. This is mostly a straight tree trunk, but if I go like this and then like this, I've established a tree that is in the landscape, and I will add a shadow to show that this is in the ground. Now that second smaller tree, I'll bring it closer. They are close in the actual image. And
Yeah.
if I did that or I did this, let's go with that one. And I start here, thinner. That goes up, and I bring that wider for the distribution of roots, and I anchor it into the ground. So my trees are anchored in the ground, and I have a very small one here. I don't want this distance from here to there to be the same as any of these, so I'll go over a little bit to about here, and this is actually behind, so I'll go almost straight up with that. And a smaller one closer to the edge with a bit of a curve. So let's make it a little bit, not in the center of that space, but maybe here. And I'll add this fifth tree right here. I have some smaller ones in the foreground. I will add those in later on. This canvas is still pretty wet. I'm actually going to have to pause here for a moment because I need to work on this surface when it's still wet. You saw when I painted here, the brush picked up some of the paint from the background. Let's see what we can do. If I could add some lines in the foreground on this rock with a smaller brush, I will go with a brush that has...
The tree trunk purple?
I'm sorry?
Are the trees purple?
I haven't started putting in any of the trees yet. They're green, and I will actually start with some purplish green.
Oh, I mean the trunk. I mean the tree trunk.
Yes, that is purple, but I added some burnt sienna to it.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so I still have the mixture of purple and burnt sienna from before. I will add some Payne's Gray to that. So Payne's Gray some of the original purple, which is the oxidine purple, and burnt sienna, which gives me a nice darkish brown with a grayish tint to it. And I will draw some of the shapes in the rock. I've got some smaller overhanging rocks. And the brush is creating texture on that rock. There's a dark over here. This dark is going to be a shadow as well as inform some of the shapes back there, which is a recess in the ground. And if I draw the shape of what's being defined back there by shadows, I can have rocks that go all the way to the edge of the rock, overlooking the water, I should say. So that one crack comes up and goes up across here like that.
Andrew, it seems to be harder to see the details of the picture. I don't know whether it's your camera angle is more to the side than usual, or it's just the colors you're using. It's more muted, like it's over to the side as like straight on.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm going to do some of those details in the background here, draw in some of those shapes in the background. And if I do the ridge across the mountain here, that's going up and then coming down, I start showing how the mountain in the distance has a recessed bit towards the end, and then it drops off coming down towards the water's edge, and it comes down. This is going to be some trees back there, but I've started to show how the water's edge goes across, and if I use my straight edge, I can show the recesses in the rock back there. Can't really see a lot. There's quite a bit of Well, actually, this tree is back there, so let's put that in. Picking up some of the green from before and just, even though I'm using a smaller brush, I'm using the flat side of the brush to get that shape. Joe, I think I know what you're talking about when you asked me. You were talking about this side of the painting, because the rock actually comes up a little bit higher. Now that I'm looking at it, it's just a sliver of the water back there. I think that's what you were asking me about. Now let's rough in some of the shapes in the foreground. My canvas is dry enough that I can paint over it. I was able to use the time while that's drying by adding some details in the foreground. I'm going to go with still a big flat brush and add some of the greens in the foreground, midground, background, and then come back to the foreground afterwards. So let's see. Excuse me for 1 second. Okay, I have some very definite shapes up there. I'm going to, let's see what's available on my palette. That pink, some purple, just a hint of that purple off to the side, and then introduce it into my yellow. Diary yellow is a very warm yellow, and green gold. Now I need some opacity, so this Titan green has a lot of titanium white in it, and it has a little bit of green gold. That's going to give me some opacity and some orange. Now, Jenkins green, along with all of those guys, and block in some shapes right about here. And if I come from here, like this, go up, that's a roughed in shape of the oranges presentation of green on that tree over there. Now I'm going to put in some of this in the foreground. I don't want to lose this, so what am I going to do about that? Move this over to here, or maybe a little bit over there. Decisions. So I want to keep a lot of this. I want some of this over here. Let's start here. Very irregular and bigger shapes. Come down to there and then fill in this spot right here. This can be bigger. My brush strokes are varied, circular motion now to get the sense of that collection of leaves that are happening here. Introduce some more of that Titan green, which is I don't want this to be the light green that I'm seeing in the photograph right now. It has to be something that is, it's going to be complementary and from the background. So, what do I introduce in there? I've got some yellow, some teal. I'm being mindful of the way I'm designing this shape. You see how that line there is mimicking that line? I'm going to bring that up into here and continue this down into here. So I've got the leaves coming down. There is some in here. And I've got a bit of a drip which I will include in my design. Bring some of this green into there and emphasize this guy. This tree, very key. It's one of the, I think it's a jack pine if I'm not mistaken. It has a collection of leaves at the bottom here that you can this. Varying the brush to get different sizes in that movement and the shape. Then coming up here, breaking up that water line, getting a bit of a, that line is talking to that line down here, coming up to there, that, and then this key movement from here. I've got the body of leaves here, a body of leaves here. I'll bring this one down into here so that I break up the movement. You'll still be able to see some of the rocks in the background, but I want to break up that movement of the line across here. So let's keep going with this. Now there's some leaves in the trees in the shrub in the foreground. I'm going to place one of them here to counteract what's happening back there. My color is dried up, so I'll introduce some. These are a bit too bright for me, so I'm going to add some of this and some orange into it. Dull it back a little bit, yet with some color, and give this a bit of prominence here to anchor my design, and bring some off the bottom of the canvas. I'm going to do some work in the background on the trees back there on the far mountain range, and I'm going to introduce some cerulean blue into that green, along with some of my green, Titan green. Continuing with that thought of the green back there, there's green across the top of that mountain ridge range back there, and if I put green down and remove it with my brush, I have the tree in the foreground, and there's quite a bit of foliage in the foreground here which I'll paint in afterwards, but let's put this guy in. You can see how the color of this bluish green that I have in the background is making the leaves in the foreground come forward because of the color temperature.
What blue is that you're using, Andrew?
It's a mixture of cerulean blue, it's not a blue, it's a green that has the green that I mixed up before, which is a mixture of Jenkins green, green gold, Titan buff, which is a titanium based color. It has a lot of opacity to it, and then I introduce some cerulean blue to it to give it the coolness of the temperature across the background.
Thank you.
The process of painting with this style is one of thin application of paint, layers of color, and a bit of patience as you add details as you go along. There are some foreground leaves that I'll put in there in a second, but for the time being, add some of my granite pinkish gray background and then the sky, and I'll come back to the foreground again. So let's put that pinkish gray in the background. How are we doing for time, Sanya?
Wonderful.
It's this mixture is Payne's gray, zinc white, and titanium white. It's a bit dark at the moment, so I'll add a bit of that pink to it. Not to get it lighter, but to get it some pinkish color, and then go back in with my zinc and titanium white. And carefully place that in.
Where did you get the pinkish color?
It's light magenta and it's right here.
Light magenta?
You can get light magenta by mixing pyrrole red with zinc white and some titanium white. And if I add some of this color into there, on the rocks back there. I'll bring my brush down into the water and just hint at that. So I've roughed in the.
And what are you doing?
Sorry, I
I'm
didn't hear that.
not sure what you're
Whoever's speaking, I can't hear you properly.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm not sure what you're up to now. Are you filling the blue into the just overall, or?
I'm working on the rock in the background, in the tree line. Sorry, not the tree line. The rock in the La
Yeah.
Cloche range in the background, and I started with the green. Now I've blocked in some of the pink in the granite. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Can you see that? And I'm painting around the cracks in the rock. Here, I'll bring the camera up closer so you guys can see. You see that?
Yeah.
So that background rock back here. Now I'm going to define the sky and the water in the lake, and you'll see things a little bit more clearly. I'll start with the sky. But before I do, there's some foliage back here that I need to put in on the tree. And I'll start with green gold, yellow ochre, and some of that Titan buff, and a bit of orange. So I need to put that in here. Now that I've blocked in some of the trees up there, the leaves, I will do the sky very quickly, and then the water, and then you guys can get busy painting or answer any questions that you have at that point. Let's see, my sky color, I'm going to go with some teal. Let's clean that spot of the palette up so I could add some blue to it without getting too much green. A little bit of teal, some water, some cerulean blue. It's a bit too watered down, but I'll go with it anyway. A little bit of ultramarine. I need some opacity to that, so I'll add some titanium white to it. Oh, look at that. Now I need to add some water in the lake, so I'm going to go a little bit darker, some teal, some cobalt, and just go across here. Painting around my trees in the foreground. I know I can go back and put some more of these leaves back in afterwards, but for the time being I've got those shapes that I need to maintain. So on both sides of this trunk I go like this, and every once in a while just stipple the flat end of my brush against the tree so I get a broken down shape. It's not just a flat presentation of the shape of the leaves. coming across here for this little bit of water across the top of that rock. Bring that up a little bit. And introduce some of that color into the sky.
Is that teal and cerulean, Andrew?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But it also has some titanium white in it and some zinc white.
Okay.
Because you need some opacity to the presentation of the color onto the surface. So you can see that how this has been developed from blocking in. I didn't draw in any of the shapes initially with a small brush. I just went in with a big flat brush, blocked in the sky, then the land back there with the mountain and some trees growing on there, land in the foreground, shadow, highlight the shape of these trees, and then blocked in the leaves. I will go in and draw some more shapes later on, but for the time being, this is how it starts with this light presentation of color on top of color. This will be more of a detailed painting and a bit more information in it in a structured way than the loose presentation that we used from some of the former demonstrations. Any questions again so far?
So if you were doing on plein air, would you use this type of blocking in probably? Would you?
This is one of them that I would use, yes.
Yeah.
I would use the both styles, where I work in the foreground and go to the background,
Okay.
as well as this.
Okay.
So Andrew, it seems like you have a lot of mid in the lake, mid in the background, and mid color in the sky right now. But are you going to do things to change that? Or are you going to leave it like that?
Oh, I haven't made any decisions yet. I can't at this early stage. I don't have an objective for this painting other than to have more detail
Yeah.
in it. So the painting will reveal itself to me as I keep going.
Okay.
And I will make decisions. Yes, you're right. That color is showing up quite a bit right now in the midground right here. And
Yeah.
down there, but that's just the process of where we are to this stage.
Right. Okay.
So let's see what people have been working on. If you would like to get some feedback at this stage.
So Andrew, last week I was not able to come to the class because I got on twice, and then Yesenia took me out, and then I wasn't able to get back in. I was able to see you, but I couldn't hear you. So now I'm back.
Welcome back. I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened, but
Yeah, I don't know, but anyway. So here's my so I finished this one. Can you see it?
yeah, wow, fabulous. Very well done. This is watercolor, right?
Watercolor, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, very nicely done.
watercolor pencil, right?
Yep,
So
and I can see the shape of the cat in there, the light in the background, your shapes of light and dark, and the foreground images of the flowers. Yeah, fabulous work.
so thank you. I started another one on
Yeah.
the same, but it's now I've got a big problem because I put in this big pair of flowers, and it doesn't quite work. So
Well, how are you handling the sky? How are you going to, or the background? How are you going to handle the background?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm having a problem with the color of those flowers, right? And because they have a lot of magenta in them, I don't think I can do, I can make the color darker. I could make it go into more purplish, but I don't know if that will make them overbearing. And then I can,
I don't know if it's something you should continue working on those flowers. You need to have some thought, give some thought to the what's going to happen in the background,
right,
and then you can make decisions on what to do with those flowers. And I think your background should have some light in there to support those two flowers because they're quite dark, and if you darken the background anymore, you're going to lose those guys, especially since they're in the foreground. You don't want them to be lost.
right.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that this one could be a lighter painting than the previous version, right?
Yeah, but are you going to have shapes back there?
I think I need more shapes.
Yeah, then you could design those shapes now and use lighter washes to have a little bit more information back there, and not just a flat wash. Not that that's a flat wash. There is some variances in your wash back there, but certainly have a design shape that will support the flowers that are in the foreground, the nice shapes that are going up and down like that, right? So give that some thought. Pencil that in nicely with a very thin H or 2H pencil lightly, and then start adding some of those light washes back there.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Andrew,
Hello.
can you see the picture I drew so far?
Hang on. Let's see you. Where are you? I saw you briefly, but you've gone again. Where'd you go?
Can you see?
Here you go. Hold on, hold on. Don't go away. Yeah. So you've got the shapes. You've got all of the shapes. You've got lots of information in there. Be mindful of the tonal values that you're getting. Objects in the foreground, you can separate them from the background by having warmer colors, say in the greens and the browns. And then you have tonal value differences from that green to the sky. The sky seems to have a bit of teal in it. You may want to tone that back a little, just a touch to have the separation. But right now you have lots of information in there. The tree trunks are very believable. The collection of leaves also very believable. You'll see what a difference it's going to make when you add the highlights in this area to your rocks in the foreground. And then
I,
to add your water in the lake.
I didn't catch up with the rock, so I just after the leaf I go back to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can take your time. Don't worry too much about keeping up because I have to work quickly here when I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I don't want you guys falling asleep and starting to snore and keeping the other guys awake.
Easy to force. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Andrew, I sent my picture.
You did?
I did, yeah.
Sorry, who was that?
Natalie,
Natalie, did you
I sent it to Ksenia.
you sent it to Sonia? Okay. Let me see if I could.
I don't have your direct email, so you should go through Ksenia.
Okay. Natalie,
Yes.
can you send it to Sookrah at engineroom.ca?
Sookrah at engineroom.ca. Sure.
That's SOOKRAH
Yep.
at engineroom.ca.
Okay.
If anyone wants to show their work this way, also take that email down. It's my last name, Sookrah at engineroom.ca.
They should have gone.
Yep, it's here. Yeah, I'll share the screen. Would you mind if I share the screen?
Yeah, no worries.
So this is where you're at. You've got information in the background. You've got the rock coming down, which I didn't have that rock coming down. I could add that later on, which is right here. I would bring it out to here rather than having it here, because attaching itself to the top of this rock.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It could come to about here. It might add, that's a personal thing, Natalie. I wouldn't ignore me. Who am I to make suggestions like that?
I've got a tedious little picture that I'm using because whenever I print from my phone, it comes out tiny on my
no.
printer. So I have to. Once I get off, I'll print a bigger one, and then maybe I can see better.
All right.
See that well.
Just be mindful of getting if you are painting this way and you have and I can't really tell if you have any ridges of paint here. Be mindful of using thick applications. I don't see that happening in the background, but certainly here, if you go to paint on top of this, I should say, whatever's on top will have that ridge of heavy paint. So just be mindful of that. But this is coming along quite nicely. Start blocking in your trees now.
Yes.
And see this line you have coming down here for the
Yeah,
dark?
it's ugly.
That can have this bright color coming across here to break up that line.
Okay.
So you have, okay?
All right. Sounds good.
Good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Joe, how are you making out with yours?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Unfortunately, typical to my life, I can't get my phone to work now to send you the picture. So
What?
I'll try and show. It's my life with technology. I spend all
Send
day
it back.
on it.
Send it back, Joe. Send it back.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it back with my painting. I'll try and show you the painting in the next minute or two. I'll go get a phone from inside. This phone's just not.
Ask your neighbor why. How come he couldn't get a better phone that you borrowed?
Yeah, it just completely died right.
Oh no. What kind of phone are you using?
And then an iPhone. I'm just gonna. Oh, there. Now it's charging up again.
Okay.
Andrew, it's Nancy.
Hello.
Hi. I don't know if you can see.
I will find you.
Okay. Again, it's watercolor. It's quite light because I'm just kind of layering.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. Fabulous. You've got the shapes, the foreground. Keep going lightly with this.
Yeah.
Paint your trees in the foreground, and be
Mhm.
mindful that you're not going up in silos like this. Like this. See
Okay.
how I had
Yeah.
some of these shapes coming down and going like this, playfully all over the place? I mean, that collection of leaves are attached to this tree, but they're not
Right.
going straight up like this. Just be
Okay.
mindful of that, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Great.
What is Andrew?
Hello.
Hi. Email address to send it to?
It's my last name, Sookrah, S as in Sam, OOKRAH, at Engine Room. Engine Room is all one word, engineroom.ca.
Yep. 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 Thank you.
Great. Waiting at the door. Okay, here it is. Oh wow, you're almost finished with this. Hang on, let's share your brilliance. Hold on. Oops, no, not this one. Yeah, you're working really quickly here, Joe. You've got all the information in there. I would recommend you do something in this area here because everything is sort of falling off right now. I love the energy, how you've brought this line into here, down, down, across. Now you need to do something either to have some of these lines, maybe a shadow in here somewhere to stop that line from going off too forcefully. I'll make it just a little bit thinner. If you take a look at these four shapes, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're somewhat similar. If you combine maybe these two dark shapes into one, that'll stop the very aggressive movement off the bottom of the page. But your shapes are lovely. There's dancing movement in the trees, in the collection of leaves. In here as well too, see how your leaves are going up, straight up and down like this. Introduce something, just a little bit of some green in this area here like that, maybe like this. Just a touch, just a hint, not too much. And back there, you see how you've got the bright reddish color back there? It's almost the same as in the foreground. If you kept some of it, but lighten back, tone back bigger parts of them, then you'll have that set back in the background. Okay. You're muted, so let's see if we could unmute you. Hold on. Yep. Can you say that again?
On the bottom right, see where the water is there,
Yep.
as it goes down, I put like a shade of green in it, but I was thinking, should I work that water up a bit and give it sort of a more watery, like some action?
I would recommend having your lines going across this way for the water, because
Okay.
if you want the same brush strokes there and on the rocks and the trees and in the background, I don't know that there'll be that much of a separation between
So
that.
get them going more horizontal.
Yes, exactly. And if you draw a few lines, say you did one from here, it goes up. Whoops.
Yep.
I'm just going to do a little markup here.
Okay.
Light color. If you had something that's going across just like that, not that thick, of course, but just
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Not that dark color either. Sorry, just some indication.
Yeah. No. But I see you're creating some sections.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Good.
All right.
And here, this is what I
Okay.
mean.
I'll get back to work.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean down at the bottom here. Sorry.
Yep.
Nope. Just in the bottom here. Not this blue, but I meant to put in some of that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Let's do it. So if we did that,
Sort of grounds it a bit.
yeah, right in there. It'll stop that movement across the bottom. Okay. Great.
Okay, and a bit of horizontal greenery in the top left.
Yes, across here.
Okay, good.
Touch.
Thank you very much.
Okay, if you're interested, I can show you quickly what that. Just in here. Whoops, still getting the blue, but maybe not that.
Yep.
Definitely not that thick.
No, too thick. Yeah.
Just a hint, and yeah, that's about it. Thanks, Joe.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who haven't we heard from yet? Anna?
Andrew,
Hello.
how are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. I haven't been painting today. I've just been watching and listening because I came in late, and so I'm not sure I'm going to go down and paint, but I am listening and watching. But I
Okay.
will send you, as soon as my painting is done, I will send it to you guys.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing it. It was looking fabulous.
Oh, thank you. I think it is going to come. I just need to get a bit more time to get at it.
Yep, I understand. Okay, thanks, Anna.
Thanks.
Sophie, what are you up to?
Andrew, sorry, hold on.
Hello.
I can show you the one I did.
Can you turn your video on?
What's that?
Turn your video on.
Just about to put it on here.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if can you see me yet?
Yep.
Let's see.
Good. So,
Okay, there I am.
yep.
So,
Aha.
that's what I did yesterday, last
Okay.
night.
Yep.
I'm gonna do some, like, I don't know. The grass is a little uniform. I wasn't sure if I should change it, but I don't want to overdo it. Sometimes I tend to overwork it and then it ruins it. So,
You know what? If you send me a picture of this,
mhm.
I'll show you just a couple of minor suggestions on how you can take this to the next stage.
Okay,
Okay, just send me a.
I will. I'll send
Okay.
it. Okay,
Send
thanks.
it by email, and I'll mark it up on
Thanks,
on
Andrew.
the preview. Okay, thanks.
Senya, I just got a call from Lynn, and she can't get back in. She got sent out.
Oh,
Waiting for the host to let her back in.
okay. Let's see. There we go. She's joining again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great.
Is she here?
Senya's had to go deal with something back at the McMichael, so I'm going to be addressing all of these.
Did she get in?
She should be. Hello, Lynn.
Hi guys, thanks. I'm back in.
All right. Awesome.
Welcome back. How long were you gone for?
Well, for some reason, Zoom kept closing down when someone else's painting was up for a while. I don't know. Anyway, so I had to sign out a couple times today, but I was always able to get back in, and this time I didn't get back in.
Really? Okay.
So probably 5 minutes.
Okay. Do you have stuff you'd like to show?
I can show you my painting.
Yeah. Hang on. Hang on. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Wow. Look at you.
I got some updated colors, so I feel like I'm more in the realm of your.
Your canvas is benefiting from that updated list of colors that you have. Fabulous. Keep going. Keep going with this.
All right.
Everything is working right now. You've got your angles are working really well. The only thing I would ask you to take a look at is this line starts from here down. It's a bit sort of less dramatic than if you were to take it up a little bit, coming there like that.
Oh, over the yeah. Okay.
Just up a little bit here.
Okay.
And your shapes are all very random and very nicely organized, different sizes, etc. Working very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrew, I just sent the picture I'm still working on. I couldn't get access to the video for the waterfall picture.
Okay.
For some reason it had been taken off, but Ksenia has, she sent it to me earlier today.
All right.
And I'm waiting for, I'm so afraid to cover like I took some of your suggestions in regard to the rocks, and the rocks really, I thought, popped out. I like them a lot better than they were before.
Yeah.
And the shadows I still have to work on. I'm getting them too dark. But I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm expecting some magic from the zinc white, because I'm having a really hard time when I go over my colors, getting them too dark. And then I end up covering the underlying colors.
Right. So you know that zinc white is a translucent white. It's not an opaque white, right?
So
it's not going to cover what's underneath. It's going to glaze over it. It's going to add an effect over it.
Right.
If you want to cover what's underneath, you need to have a mixture of zinc and titanium white.
Right. Okay. Because I don't want to totally cover it. It seems like the undercolor isn't there at all when I go over. So I'm trying to get that balance of
Right.
getting.
So make sure that you're mixing enough water with your paint. Let me take a look at Sophie's painting, and I'll come back to yours. Did you send it to me or to send you?
No, I sent it to you. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Let's take a look at Sophie's.
I also fixed the one from last week with your suggestions about the rocks as well, and I've changed the grass and trees.
Okay, great. So here we have, you've done really well with your colors here. This is absolutely delightful back here. Look at this. Your sky, the trees, etc. Some of this you would benefit by showing some more of this in here, and I'll show you what I mean. If I brought some of that into here, see how you're unifying this background now? How these trees are in the foreground, there's still going to be some of this background showing through. And if you just go across like that and introduce some of that purplish color all the way across, and in here, you don't want to go up the river like this. You want to come across on a horizontal, just to show some of that. And you'll see when I add some of the blues on top of that, what a difference it's going to make.
Also, can I ask your opinion? See, the trees are not very realistic. They're just lines, right? I just wanted to give faint, but I'm wondering if I should change them to try to make them look more realistic, or do you think that, I don't know, like, I don't know what your...
Try to avoid just putting lines up there like this. And you don't always have to spell out the entire shape of the tree from here to there. I'll show you what I mean. If you put some leaves in the foreground and you darken or lighten, in this case here, you will lighten your trunk and you will darken them in this area here. Let's finish with this part here, and I'll show you what I mean when I say you just add some of that color from across here. And if you took just brought some of that blue and purple back there into and in this area here as well too. Just a hint of that color that you have here. Now you see how the area across the back is one unified background?
Yes.
Now, this part that you have going up here is quite believable. However, if you have the same shape of, especially here, the same shape of the height of the grass going up, and if you draw individual blades of grass, you will have something that doesn't look as believable as this. This area here looks very believable because you didn't draw individual shapes of leaves. You drew collection of leaves. You drew collections of darks in the sky, colors that are shapes that are unified. Here, these guys are sort of hanging out by themselves. So let's take a look at that. What would we do to change that? Let's go in with a mid-green, light green, and if I drew shapes, and I say the foreground shape is this, and this is going to be bigger than over there because it's in the foreground. Things are in perspective, okay? And this is going to go across like this, not just go up beside the bank of the river. These guys will go across like this.
Okay.
Okay, so you have that. And all of a sudden, you now have something that has perspective, and you have grass that's in the midground. Look at the foreground again. If you put some of these guys going up like this, randomly, and their shapes, not just individual blades of grass, and some might even be in the water. Nothing is going to just sort of behave and say, I can't go in the water. So every once in a while, a couple of them will go in the water. So you do that, and you come like this. Even though your reference may not look the way I'm painting it, your objective is to make it look believable. So now we have a sort of a mid-tone for your grass, and your shapes rather than lines or for the blades of grass. Let's go in with a smaller brush with, so let's say, some yellow. Now you can go in with, oops. Come on. And let's go with a lighter color, say maybe some of these will be in the foreground. I only have 2 sizes of brushes here, by the way, so sorry.
No, I like what you're doing though, and I tend to get carried away with highlighting too. So because it looks nice when you do it, but then I don't know when to stop. So I like what you're doing.
Hey, wait a minute, I'm having the same problem now. Tell me to stop. I'm finding it hard to stop. I'm having some fun with it.
It looks so good. I really like it. So I'll definitely give that a go later.
All right, so here's something else. In here, you have water that's going to be informed. The color of the water is going to be informed of what's happening in the sky. Let's take a look at this. If I pick up some of the light color, let's start with this color here, Rich. If I go like this, first one here, all the way across to there. See how the water looks like it's in the scene and it's reflective of what's going on in the sky?
Yeah.
Now, let's add some more sky color. So we have a little bit of blue, and my brush strokes are going all the way from edge to edge. And in some cases I stop, but definitely going horizontally. And every once in a while I'll do this. Okay?
Okay.
Great.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really that was took me the bulk of the time yesterday was the water. I really had to change it over and over, and then anyway, so thank you.
You're welcome. Now, Shirley sent me something. Let's do a screen share so I can mark this up a little bit. Okay, Shirley, here we go. Great, thank you for sending this in. This is a great start. Very graphic shapes. Everything, all your information is in there. Foreground, water, the rapids, rocks in the midground, rocks in the background, etc. Now your photograph is a bit washed out at the back here, so I can't really see what you've got there, but you've started to show the highlights on the top of the rock. You see how you've got that done? Now you need to get rid of that dark line across the top, unless that's the style that you would like to continue painting the painting in, where you have those lines showing, and that's okay if you want to do that. However, I would recommend that you, let's see if I could zoom in. If you wanted to work on this rock, for instance, what you would do is you would take, say, your light color, and you've got your light gray on top here, and that light gray will go all the way up to the top. Whoops, that's not what we want. Your light color needs to go across the, sorry, I've gotten a little bit heavy there, but certainly
Okay. Yeah, I get the idea.
Yeah, you're covering up the black, and then you have your shadow on this side. And let's put in some lines for your, unfortunately the program switches from tool to tool, and this is not the tool that I want, but I can't seem to control that. It's depending on the version of the PDF that this was saved in. When I open it in my program, it's not giving me options to do things. Let's try a different color for that shadow. So I'm going to put that shadow in here, and that's purple. So if I, oops, I put a shadow in there, and then I have the highlight on top. This is going to be different from what's happening here as well too. You could add some of the same color in there, but you will need to have a little dark in this area here. So let's go in with this dark color in there. So I've got the separation from the mid to dark, and then I have a highlight across the top here. So let's change that to a lighter color. Nope. So you see how the rock looks like it has a top to it and on the side?
Yeah.
And then you could add some darks in here as well too. Let's go with a really dark color in there. Let's go with that dark. And then here as well. See what a difference that makes?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And I have another image to bring in. Let's take a look at this. I think this will show up in here. Can you see it? Can you see this one?
Yes.
This is pastel, right? Delightful piece that's pretty close to being finished. I would suggest you try to bring some of this information from here, much like you have here, where this surface of the rock starts from one end and goes all the way
Andrew,
over.
I'm still seeing, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I'm still seeing the previous image. I'm not, mine just
Okay,
flashed.
let's stop the screen share and then move
Okay.
to the other one.
It flashed and then,
Yeah, let's try this again. Hold on. So here we go. This information in the foreground is working very well in convincing you and everyone that this is a piece of rock that we're standing on that starts from here, comes across, and it's connected to this rock down here. If you were to add a bit of information in that color that you have, this is probably going to be a bit heavy, but if you did this kind of thing and you went like this, you've unified that information there with this information in the foreground. The same thing here. If you just hinted a little bit of this going across, all of a sudden we know that this rock is one massive piece of rock that everybody's standing on here. We've left the classroom, we've gone to Killarney, and we're just standing around in the sunshine on that rock. See how that looks like one big rock now?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
You're not far away from being finished with this painting. This is lovely work in here. Look at the elegance of your movement of the lines. Look at this. Very nicely done, very fresh. The same thing back here. If you were to add a little bit of dark, a little dark gray back there, where will we put our dark gray? This is perhaps a bit too heavy. I'm going to try it anyway. I'll go with a smaller pencil point. Just a hint. Because that land back there is going to go across and just sort of do this kind of thing. Just a hint at it, and every once in a while you bring that line up to have a shape. And that's about it.
Can I ask a quick question? So I'm still having a really hard time with pastels fixing it. So I bought this fixative, and every time I spray it, it distorts my painting and darkens it and makes the colors run. I'm not sure if you could suggest something. Oh wow, that's nice. Yeah. Oh, that's really nice.
You are going to introduce some of these in here just to give you the sense of the water going across back here. Let's talk a bit about the fixative. What you need to do is to take some scrap paper and practice. You're practicing some shapes, color, etc. Some thin, some thick. And then you practice spraying from different angles, different distances from the painting itself, and test until you get the result that you're looking for. The running seems to me that you're too close to the paper when you were spraying. The spray is collecting, you're not moving quickly enough. Those are all thoughts that cross my mind when I hear that, because in the times that I've used the fixative spray over my pastels, I've held it back, start back, and then come closer, and then move evenly over the surface, and then stop, and then come back to it, let it dry, and then come back to it. I've tried not to cover it all in the one go, So
Mhm.
the results will probably vary as you go, but do know that fixative will darken your pastel.
How far do you keep it? Do you keep the fixative from the page to? Is there the right distance, or you just kind of hit and miss and
I couldn't give you an exact distance because the different propellant in each of the cans that you're using is stronger than others. So you need to test first. Out spray away from the painting, and I hope you're spraying outdoors, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
And make sure that it's not windy because the spray is going to be blowing away or blowing onto the painting. Um, just be mindful of those things. Test is the only answer I could say I would give to that.
Also, sorry, can I interject as well? Because I think I brought up a similar question earlier on. Is there a particular brand that darkens the least amount? Like, I know they're all going to darken, but is there one that is like, because you don't want to buy like 5 different types of fixatives and then just like, they're just sitting there, right?
Yeah,
So,
no, I'm sorry, I couldn't answer that. You would have to speak to the guys in the art supply store who sell these.
okay.
I only knew of one, and I forget the name now. Is it Taclon that I used many years ago?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And I've saved this. I think it's on the drive somewhere. It took me 2 years to find it.
Andrew, I just have a question about the paint. You have quite a bit of paint on your palette. Is there, if you can't get to use that today, can you cover it with something? Can you still use it, or you just start all over again?
That's a very valid question. Acrylics are drying even as you squeeze them out from the tube or the bottle. There are palettes that you can use that you could squeeze your paint onto. They're called stay wet palettes. You can ask in the art supply store for them. Some of them come with a lid. I tend to spray my palette, which I did before you guys got here, and I will spray a little bit more now. But for the most part, when I'm finished these classes, you guys can't see me, I sob here gently into my sleeve because these paintings, these colors have dried and I've wasted quite a bit of paint. And I'm not a rich man, so I have to be mindful of that.
I was wondering about that because yeah, I don't want to waste the paint that's
No,
left on
no,
my palette. So.
we can't go through life wasting paint like that. And now I've learned in my advanced age to squeeze out less paint than I did before. So my wastage is less now, but still I do end up at the end of the day with paint that's dried, and once it's dry you can't use it again. So do look for a stay wet palette, and I mean, if you spray too much, the paint is going to be diluted as well too. But anything you can do to stop and slow down, you can't really stop it other than to use retarder, which you can mix into your paint. It's a lot of work, and you have to keep managing it. You have to mix all of your paint with the retarder. So be mindful of that. Spray, use a stay wet palette, or get something called open acrylics. I might have some in a bag here. Open acrylics will act like oil paint. They're water-based, they're acrylics, but they'll stay workable for 2 days.
Okay.
I have a suggestion here.
What's that?
It is. I make myself a container of the used one, and I use this plastic bag, and I use a few. I spray water on the leftover, and then it can keep for a week.
Wow.
You know, that's a great idea. Those bags that you can
every day.
Good for you,
Thank you, Vicky.
Good for you, Vicky. You know, well, that's the key thing. The air doesn't get into the bag because you seal it, right?
Yeah.
And you keep spraying it.
Yes. And also, I have a question here. I bought a color wheel.
Yes.
And I want to know what is the basic use and how to use it, like basically.
All right. So here, the wheel. Let's take a look at the wheel. On there are two sides. You have the same one as I do.
Yeah.
This wheel on this side, the colors that you have on the top, or either way, if you're looking at the color here,
yes,
the complementary color to that is on the opposite side of the wheel.
Yeah.
So if you want to paint a tree, and you know your tree is going to be green, you don't paint green immediately. You put a red or an orange down first, like I did. I had a red-orange paint canvas. Then I would put my green on top of that.
Okay.
The other thing is, if I want certain colors to look a certain way in my painting, if I group these colors together here, side by side, you will see what a difference they would make, as opposed to grouping, say, that next to that, etc. in your painting. You can tell.
I couldn't see the wheel. I couldn't see the wheel in the screen.
Oh, so right. So the colors that are opposite are complementary to each other. They support each other.
Right.
And you could take a look at the definition here of primary colors, secondary colors, tertiary colors, warm colors, cool colors, and how to use the color wheel.
Okay. So you said about that the color next to each other. What do you mean?
When you paint, I've got blue next to green.
Yes.
And you could check to see the difference you're going to get if you have the color wheel with you. Oh, by the way, when you add yellow to violet, you get this green.
Right. That is, that's good.
On this side,
yeah,
when you add black to colors and white to colors, you get different colors as well too. Right?
How do you use this? What does it mean that on the other side? I don't know. I don't really know. Like, so how does it work in your painting? I mean.
Okay, so let's take that's a good question. Let's take a look at the shadow. I wanted this color in the shadow. Here.
Yeah.
I could tell from my photograph that the shadow has some dark It
Yeah.
also has some color from the rock that's in light. So I
Yes.
take a look at my wheel, and the wheel says if I want to add purple into my scene, I take violet, I add some blue to the violet, and I get purple.
Right.
And I test it out, and then I will check it onto my canvas.
Okay.
If I wanted that kind of a green, which shows up here, I take blue violet, I add yellow to the blue violet, and I will get that green.
Oh, okay. Right.
If I want this kind of a yellow, I take blue, I add yellow to it. Sorry, if I wanted this kind of green, I take that blue and I add that yellow to it, and I get that green.
Okay. So this is okay. Okay, that's very practical. So what is the use of the colors next to each other to show us like
Take a look at the drama you get when you put green next to red.
oh no,
So
not next, no, not at vertical, but you know, along the wheel there are like red, orange, yellow, yellow, warm color and cool color. So
that's the color spectrum,
yeah.
right? It's the way light breaks down colors.
When you use the colors next to each other, what effect you create? Like
You can test it out. You can test it out. If you're doing an abstract painting, you will check to see how colors work next to each other. Some will complement each other. Some will obviously fight with each other. But you can test to see, depending on the results you're hoping to get in your painting. In this case, we're doing a landscape painting. We have nature does not align colors the way we would want it to be aligned sometimes. So if we're looking for a green here, and we know it's against the background of blue, this green has orange and yellow and white in it. That color back there for the blue has blue and it has teal in it, and those two next to each other, if you have blue next to green, you can see the drama that we get when this water is next to the green of the leaf, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
But you have to do a lot of practicing. You have to.
Andrew, I'm not sure.
Hello.
It's Joe. I sent you a final draft there.
Okay.
Tala.
I'm going to share the screen. Okay, terrific. Your picture was very low res, so I've blown it up. It's a bit pixelated.
Thanks.
Yeah, perfect. Still consider some of the reds that you have in the background. If you keep that much red back there, it'll fight with what's happening in the foreground.
Okay.
You could still use some of it, but keep adding some of your maybe some zinc white and some of that pink and Payne's gray back there, just to tone it back a little bit. Maybe even some teal into that.
Okay.
That
Okay.
and your greens on top of the mountain here.
Okay.
A little bit too close to your sky color.
Okay.
Take a look at the shape you have across the top of the mountain. You could break up that by adding some of the pink color that you have going here. Let's see, we have some of that pinkish gray. Let's go with the light bluish green back here.
Okay.
Just break some of these up a little bit. So you can see how the trees go up to the ridge, right? You can still see the shape of the mountain going across, but
Yep,
it's
yep,
not
yep.
an even line, right?
Okay.
And back here, unify these shapes. Let's see how we can do that. If we have this dark green back here, and we put that shape whoops.
Oops.
Yeah,
Not a perfect science.
no, I know. So you see what I mean? Back
Yeah.
there, that's now unified. And if you brought some of the lighter color of the green,
Mm-hmm.
some into the foreground. Let's go in here with whoa.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean?
Yep,
You've
yep, yep.
now, okay, that's a bit too much. And just a hint of it in shapes, not individual leaves or I mean, you not just individual lines, but if you have a
Mm-hmm.
shape like this,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Good, thanks.
Okay, so break up the top, get
Yeah.
out some of the red, maybe with a greenish blue shade, and then unify the back left.
The red back here is more of a pinkish gray, not a greenish color. You've got trees over the granite, and it's the
Yeah.
granite that needs to be toned back a little bit.
Okay.
And some of like all of these colors that you have, you see the dark teal that you have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You could have a little bit more of those guys, and I can show you quickly what I mean by this.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to just introduce some going across here.
Yep, yep, yep. Okay.
Right, and here as well too. Just a hint.
Yep.
What you've just done is show that this land going across is one unit, as opposed to an area that's focused in this area only. And it's not a lot. All you need to show is a hint of those colors across there, right? You have a concentration of it here.
Yep.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
And
great.
You have that in the foreground.
Okay. Okay, that's all I can remember.
Okay, thanks.
Andrew, can I interrupt for one more second? Actually, I
Yeah,
wanted to
thank you,
ask you something.
Andrew.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
You might laugh at this, but I actually, because again, we were talking about saving money. That's why I moved to pastels, because I spent a lot of money on paint and a lot of it was getting wasted. But also in the interest of saving money, I actually started buying like regular sandpaper versus like the fancy art sandpaper. And I did that. Last one I did was on regular sandpaper, but I noticed on the back it says like aluminum oxide electrocoated. Is that going to interfere with the painting or the pigment or anything like that, or is it going to ruin?
I don't know. You may want to spray that sandpaper with some fixative before you paint on it.
Okay. I don't know if you know what the difference is. I know that like it's much more expensive. That I like, and it does feel a little different when I use like the U-art paper or whatever. But when I'm experimenting like now, like I've just started, I don't want to, it's so expensive that my husband was just saying, this is the same thing, buy this instead, which he actually bought it for me. But I'm like, I don't know if you know what the difference is.
No, but I could find out. I could check with my friend.
It's
Anya,
okay.
who's
Don't worry about it. I just thought if you knew.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I don't. But if any, and I love the thinking that would get you to substitute the surface to work on with something that is more affordable. But do take some precaution. Spray some of it with some of that fixative, because the fixative was designed for that purpose, that it will accept the paint and will add a barrier between the surface that you're painting on and the paint.
Okay. Thank
Okay?
you.
Good.
Yep.
Senya just posted something in the chat, guys, for everybody to take a look at. Thank you, Senya. An analogous color scheme utilizes colors which are close together on a color wheel. For example, blues, greens, and purples, or reds, oranges, and yellows. And these colors are considered to have a close relationship, and when used next to each other, could and will produce a pleasing harmony. And if you're looking for harmony, that's one of the ways you get harmony, by using colors that are close to each other in the color wheel, and colors that are complementary to each other in the color wheel will give you a bit of drama. All right?
So what color are you using now for that detail, Andrew?
I mixed up some Payne's Gray and burnt sienna, along with some phthalo turquoise. Yeah, so burnt sienna, Payne's Gray, phthalo turquoise.
Those are all transparent colors?
They're acrylic, and some of them are opaque. The Payne's Gray is transparent. The burnt sienna is opaque.
Okay. What do you call your stick that you're using again?
It's an artist's maul stick, MAUL. You can make it out of anything. You can buy it already made. Basically, it's a straight edge that you can just buy anything that's straight and use it as a support.
It's about 3 feet long, or how long is it?
This is about 20 inches long.
20 inches?
You can get them in any size and length, and basically you just need something to support your hand. If I can't find that stick, I will use one of my brushes, like this.
Ah.
Just wanted to say,
What's that, Joe?
I don't know if you can hear me.
I missed a little bit of what you were saying. Can you repeat that?
I'm saying I have to go, but I just wanted to thank you for a great course. I'm heading into the house. I just wanted to say thank you very much for a terrific course. And I really appreciated all of your tips, and watching you paint was great.
Thank you for being in the class, Joe. It was a thrill to
Great.
see the work that you were producing in the class, as well as what you posted to Instagram. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks
Great to
very
have you.
much. Anyways, a pleasure. Goodbye, everyone. Everyone take care.
Bye, Joe.
I'll see you again. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks. Take care.
Bye, Joe.
Bye, Joe.
Oh, by the way, before you go, Joe, and for everybody, the
Yes.
classes start up again in 2 weeks on June 9th. There are 2 classes once again every week. Check the McMichael website very soon, and you'll see some more information on that.
Great.
All right. Great to work with you, Joe. Be well.
Thank you. Great. Take good care.
Take care.
Andrew, I kind of like it just like that. It looks very abstract.
Thank you. Yeah, it does. It does have a certain presence to it, but I'm missing some of my dark shadows in this area. So I'm going to go in with a little bit more of the purplish shadow color, and I need a bigger brush. I need to switch my brush up for that. All right. I've added a couple more brush strokes to my canvas. You can see how the background, I'll just talk quickly about this and I will review what that you've done so far for today. We're coming 15 minutes towards the end. I'll stay a little bit longer if you guys have time to stay on. But I've made my shadows a little bit darker in the foreground. I've added some highlights on the rock here. When I go into the water, a little bit darker in the water and cut back some of the pinks that or the orange showing through from the water. These guys are going to have more of a separation from this to this. Right now we can see some of the orange underneath there, even in the sky. And the next few layers of color on top, a bit more opaque, will now bring out the colors that I need to have stay in the painting. There will still be some complementary colors showing through from the base. Details in the foliage and the trees and the top here, that will be all added with some opaque greens in the next stage of painting. All right, so let's take a look at what everybody's got done. What I've seen so far, it's been very energizing, very exciting. Let's take a look.
I guess, oh my,
Is that Heather?
yeah, that's me.
Okay.
I'm having trouble with my paint drying very quickly because it's nice and warm. But it's like, it'll take a while.
Yeah, it will. So keep adding a little bit of water to your brush so that the paint will move around a bit more. Vary the ratio of water and paint to on your brush. That'll give you a bit more control in blending. Okay?
Okay.
But you've got your shapes there. You've got your trees, your rocks in the foreground, background, etc. Well done. And your trees are rooted into the ground. They're not floating in the air.
No,
See?
All planted.
Perfect.
Okay. And I wasn't sure what color. Can you review what color you did? Because you fairly a bluish. I was trying to make that a little lighter, the trees in the background, and then I realized that my trees in the foreground weren't going to.
Yes, so you need to make sure your trees in the distance have more of a bluish finish to them, because objects in the distance will be informed by atmospheric temperature, which is the blue, purplish haze that settles over things in the distance. So keep that in mind when you're doing your blues. Add a little bit of cerulean and maybe a little bit of cobalt and some cobalt has a bit of red in it, but if you add cerulean and cobalt to your green, more cerulean than you do cobalt, you will get that temperature difference from the foreground to the background. Okay? And you then need to add orange and burnt sienna to the green in the foreground.
Yeah. That's a bit more. Okay.
So Andrew, I've done a little bit more, but I'm kind of proceeding slowly today. But I have a little more tall flowers happening, and I've added more color in the foreground.
I'm trying to find you. Hold on.
Oh.
Yep, here we go. Okay, good. So your foreground is coming together quite nicely. Your midground, just be mindful of the top of your painting going across here like this. It's sort of even. Are you going to do something with that space across the top?
Yeah, I just haven't figured out what to do.
You'll figure it out.
It has to feel right. I'm not just going to go blindly into it. Right?
Go up. Absolutely. I wouldn't encourage anything else. So it has to feel right for you before you do it. Absolutely.
I'm waiting for a little inspiration of what shape to. But I added the blue flowers on this side, and I think they help.
They do. Yep. They do.
Oh,
And just be mindful. And I know that you're aware of this. When you're looking for inspiration, if you just wait, it'll come to you. But you need to take that step towards it. Okay?
thank you, Andrew.
Great. Thank you.
And it's been a good class. It's been a really good class. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. I enjoyed having you in the class. Thank you.
Andrew, are you .com or .ca?
.ca. Anna, are you still there? I'm not sure if Anna's still there.
Yes, I'm still here.
Did you see this?
I love it. The master, I love it.
I started it a couple of days ago, and yeah, it's I'm adding my Gross Morn painting in the background.
Oh,
I
It's on
think it's
my easel.
fantastic.
Thank you.
it looks so like you. Like it's like amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Captured yourself perfectly.
I love the colors that you used in that painting. Oh my goodness, really, really nice.
Did you use a photo of yourself, or what did you use? Or you just like are knowing yourself from memory, or a mirror? What are you doing?
A combination of things. I've known me for quite a long time, so I've been drawing on that association. But I did take about a dozen photographs, of which I printed out 3 or 4.
Oh, that's good.
I combined 2 or 3 of them into one. So yeah, that's
It's really great.
Combination of things. We always have to paint from what we know, but in combination with what we see.
You look younger and happier.
Oh. As opposed to old and
Oh,
grand.
Vicky, thank you. Thank you. I'll take a snapshot of this then and keep it to remind me of what I should be doing. I'm thinking my eyes look a little bit sad. I told a friend that I went from having angry eyes to sad eyes overnight.
I think they just look like curious eyes.
So, yep. Anyway, it's been fun. I'm not sure I should work on it too much more, but I will do the background next. Bring that up.
I sent my painting. So far so good.
Okay, let's take a look. I see people are leaving, and I just wanted to touch base with everybody before you sign out. Thank you guys. It's been a terrific class with some remarkable work done by everyone. And I really am thrilled to have been a part of this process with you. I encourage you to remember these words. We must never forget to celebrate our successes, however small. They're little footholds and handholds in our journey up and across as we work together in the sisterhood and brotherhood of art creation. Keep that in mind. All right?
All
Thank
right.
you.
You've given us a lot of good tips, and that's fabulous.
Andrew, thank you very much for your class. I'm starting to play golf, so I probably won't see you until probably the fall.
Oh no, I hate golf now for what it's been doing to the people who are being tempted away from my classes.
Yeah, Sheena's
Actually,
playing just as
I
much.
hate golf for other reasons as well too.
I hate golf too.
Mostly my performance on the golf course.
Well, it gives me exercise, and that's what I need.
Absolutely, it's a great way to spend an afternoon. I love a good golf game. It escapes me more often than you know, but I do enjoy being out there with friends. But a weather like this would be absolutely amazing to be on the golf course.
And 6 feet of distance all the way around.
I know.
Thank you very much. We will see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you, Andrew, for your patient support. It was a lovely class. I've really enjoyed it very much.
Thank you so much, guys. We have one last painting to share before everybody goes. It's Natalie's. And the trees are coming together
Wow.
quite nicely.
Nice. Beautiful.
Oh,
Yep, yep, absolutely. Look at the energy in these leaves in here,
Yeah, I
the
love
highlights
that.
and the shadows. You could bring a little bit of, I know you're not finished, this is all work in progress.
Yeah.
The tonal value here could be a little bit different, as well as the shapes. See how that shape is very even, going up like that?
Okay. Yep. See.
These shapes here, that X can be broken up.
Okay.
These are fabulous shapes in here. Look at that. See, these are fabulous shapes. That's very nicely done. So well done. And when you unify this rock back here,
Yeah, I gotta do a lot of work on the rock.
yeah, you'll do it. I know you will. Thank you so much for sharing this. A lot of work done in this one painting in one afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, Andrew. Well, we'll see you hopefully next month.
Yes, I look forward to it.
I'm asking my sister if she wants to join too. She's just learning to paint. She paints in watercolors though. So
That's okay. I will set up my camera for a watercolor demonstration. I might work as David McEwen does, work up like this, and I'll have to manage the palette and the paper because the way I paint is a lot of dripping. So I might do some watercolor demonstration as well too.
Okay.
Not might,
Yeah,
I
that's
will.
nice, Andrew.
I love watercolor, so I will be doing watercolor demonstrations as well.
that would be nice. And palette knife?
And palette knife, absolutely.
That would be fun. Lynn,
Bye, everybody, and
Bye.
class.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good couple weeks.
Yes, absolutely.
Andrew?
Too much.
Yes.
Andrew, I just wanted to say that I love the technique that you've started here with analyzing all of our paintings and, you know, just your little touch with the color, where we need it. It's tremendously helpful, and it's like an amazing tool to watch because just these small tweaks make huge differences to what we need to do. And so I just found for me, watching you do that, it was like a huge eye-opening, mind-blowing experience to watch you just, because usually, you know, when we're in class, when we're in the Pine Cottage and you're over my shoulder, it's a little different. You say, put a little here, and then you go. And then I'm like, ugh.
Anna, you know that if I were to dare touch your painting in that Pine Cottage, I would be stabbed 16 times with dull paintbrushes.
Yes, you would.
I'm thrilled that I found this way of touching your painting without touching it.
Yes, you have now. You see, now you know. Yes, thank you. I just thought I think it's remarkable. It's great.
Yeah, no, thank you for that because I know you reacted very, very forcefully when I did the first demonstration. And Senya, thank you so much for suggesting that.
Of course.
It was a great aha moment for all of us. And as we're working on this online program, we're finding out new things. And the platform itself is changing as we're doing more and more with it. The people are coming on with more and more things. So it's only going to get better.
So is this all through Zoom that you're doing this? To the Zoom Canvas?
Yeah, it's through the Zoom, and then when you open a PDF in Zoom,
yeah,
it's a part of what the PDF options give you. I have Acrobat Pro, which I'm not sure is the program that PDF opens in.
Okay.
But it gives you the options of changing things and annotating things as well too.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's great.
Have you got two cameras there too? You've got your.
I do have two cameras. I have my iPhone on my palette behind me, and I have my Logitech focus on my.
Fabulous to see the palette and the painting. Yeah.
Andrew, I've been painting for a few years, but mainly in oil, and I know there's just something about the way that you inspire me to just see things differently. I don't know. Just to do it differently, to see, like, take a boring picture and make it beautiful. Like,
that's the objective right there. That is the objective right there.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm really inspired by you.
And take risks. Take risks without fear.
We will, right, Lynn?
We're doing that. Yes.
Perfect. What I'd like you to do when you come into the room where your painting is say hi to your comfort zone and then park it over in a corner with a cup of tea somewhere.
Ah.
Yes. Good advice.
Well, I changed my room. I'm now up in my office with more light, so I'm happy now.
Okay, excellent. Perfect.
So thank you, Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Ksenia.
Thank
Of course,
you,
thank
Ksenia. It was great. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you everyone
Thank
for
you.
joining the class.
Thank you guys. Thanks, Lynn.
We'll be back.
See you shortly.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vicky.
Bye, Vicky. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Hope to see you soon.
I
Yes,
hope so too.
I hope so
Take
too.
care.
Bye.
Is the next class also landscaping, major in landscaping?
Yes.
A variety of subjects, yes.
Great. Thank you. You
Thanks.
invited.
Bye-bye, Vicky.